Alright, so this video, this is a top lane video for you. I was against a Tryndamere this game, and I wanted to show this one pretty much just how to play against like a top lane that you can win against, but is difficult. So typically how the Tryndamere versus GP matchup, for a couple things, I brought Grasp into this. He brought Phase Rush, and he also had Nimbus Cloak, so he had a lot of movement speed in his kit. He also brought Ignite, so that was something I had to be aware of. I don't remember what all my runes are. I think I have Transcendence, which isn't a great rune, but it's okay. I think I have Gathering Storm, Bone Plate, or Demolish, Second Wind, I think, and Revitalize. So for this game, basically, what I did for a lot of it was I basically just chilled for a lot of this game. And what I mainly did was I queued on cooldown. The trading pattern for a top lane gangplank is basically, especially against someone like Tryndamere with a um, very telegraphed like engage and everything like that, is you want to queue him on cooldown so that you can proc your grasp, and you always want to have something like a barrel behind you. If somebody has a very easy gap closer like Tryndamere or Camille or someone like Kennen, you always want to have a barrel like next to you or behind you so you can hit it and run away from them. So you'll see multiple times in this game where Tryndamere has a dash on his kit and a slow. But whenever he dashed into me, since he locked himself out of autoing, I would just immediately auto my barrel as soon as I could so that I could get away from him. One thing to also realize, what I just did in this game was that I autoed a minion and then backed away immediately, and you could see that without autoing another minion, Grasp activated. So you want to make sure that something like Grasp is always up if you can do it. Your barrels are a great way to do that, especially early game, so that you can auto attack your barrels to restack your grasp. So I'll click on myself here. Yeah, so you can see over here, you can just track this if you want to. I'm basically queuing him as soon as my grasp comes up if he's in range. If he's in range, I'm queuing him as soon as possible. And right here, I'm putting a barrel right down next to myself. He should have autoed it there. So this was something where I had to flash, and it was okay. That's totally fine. He got off a lucky crit and he used Ignite, so I'm technically okay here. I'm wanting to farm under my tower, and again, I'm normally just autoing minions if I can help it. Like right now, since I'm at this point, I remember I was waiting for level 3 so that if I got level 3, there's no way I would lose. So I got level 3 here, so I know I could kill him. So I walk towards him, but he has to flash away. So I'll go back and do that again and look at that. So right here, okay, I don't like how this works, but that's okay. Right here, that's not me. How does this work? I don't understand. Right here, I was very afraid of him, to be honest, because if he flashed on me and got a crit on me, he could probably kill me since I don't have flash. So I'm playing back. I have a barrel back behind me if I can. And then right here, the siege minion dies, and I wasn't really planning for this, but I hit level 3. Now my flash isn't up, and like I said, I wasn't planning on it, but I immediately turn around and run towards him. He knows this, and knows that I can just Q him really soon, so he has to flash away. And since I had my W, if he tried to engage on me and kill me, there's no way that he could kill me, even with a crit. I would kill him with one auto before that. So he has to recall here. I know that he does no TP, so I shove the wave. And I know that he's going to recall because there's no way that he would walk back up into... With that little HP, even with the healing that Tryndamere does have, there's no way that he would walk back in. So he's going to miss a lot of these minions over here. Not all of them by any means, but he will miss a lot of them. First back. Now what I do buy, if I remember right, is a pink and a sapphire crystal. I started corrupting pot this game because most games that you start grasp, there are basically two options for rune choice on Gangplank. since Klepto was removed. Excuse me. You've got Grasp of the Undying, and you've got Fleet Footwork. Grasp is what you're going to take into most matchups, because most matchups top lane are melee, and you can very much so abuse that as long as you keep it up with your passive and your barrels and things like that. And Fleet is for lanes that you just know you can't win. So lanes like Jace, like Olaf, there's no way that you can win that kind of lane. Silas is another lane. I'm trying to think of other top laners. Darius, you could bring Grasp into Darius. Darius is a very difficult matchup in general, but but normally you're going to start Corrupting Pot when you start that so that you can get more mana back. Sapphire Crystal I normally start with Fleet, just so you can go for the Sheen and just farm. Since you bring Fleet, there's no reason to queue your opponent when you bring Fleet, so all you want to do is you just want to accelerate towards a Sheen so it's easier to farm. That's what your goal is when you have Fleet. That's why you want to start a Sapphire Crystal. You're not really trying to trade with your opponent until you get a Sheen. Sorry. So yeah, that's what's really going to happen a lot of the time. I don't really know what else to say about that. I'm trying to think about that. Yeah. I don't really know where I was going. Sorry. Right here what I bought, but I bought a Sapphire Crystal so I could get back to that. What I should have done actually in this situation when it's a very volatile lane is you want to buy a Cloth Armor. You still want to get to your Sheen as soon as possible, but the Cloth Armor is really important, honestly, to being able to do anything, basically, this game. I wanted to get to Tabis as soon as possible this game because Tryndamere can definitely run me down, but I want the Sheen as well. So I'm pretty sure the next item that I buy is a Ninja Tabi because I'm doing fine. So like I'll explain that in a second. I'm gonna pause and rewind that. But so I can get the Ninja Tabi so I can survive the lane phase, and I noticed that my grasps are doing plenty of damage to the Tryndamere, so I'm doing fine. Now right here is the trading pattern I was talking about. I make sure there's a barrel either right next to me or behind me. So I walk up to Q this minion, and Tryndamere thinks that he can trade with me. Alright, Q him. I immediately auto the barrel since I know that he's locked out of autoing me, and I just keep running. I W, there's no way he can trade with me anymore. So he has to run away. And I put another barrel down, basically the same exact idea. And I'm queuing him on cooldown. Now, I do want to also point out that this game isn't a great example of something, because this Tryndamere does, I think, DC a couple times in the game. So, you want to keep that in mind as well. So, basically why I'm showing this is how to handle a very volatile lane that you can win. Because this lane in this game was extremely winnable. So, I overextended a couple times if I remember right, but yeah. So if you want to keep watching if you want to keep watching, I always am trying to have grasp up pretty much constantly, and I'm trying to queue him off cooldown. Not because I really think I can kill him at this point, but because I still have 3 corrupting pots, and I can just get health off of it. I can get a lot of health from just queuing him off cooldown. And I can put a lot of pressure on him as well so that he has to walk back, and I think this is where he disappeared for a little bit because I think he was having internet problems, but so I'm going to fast forward a little bit to when he got his ult, because I think he might have, he left, I think he was having internet problems. As you can see, he's kind of sitting back behind his second tier tower. Not that that was really important, but I recognized here that he was going to get his ult. And basically, I knew, because this is just how Tryndamere works, as soon as this boy gets his ult, he is going to run at me. He is going to run at me. I know he has phase rush. At this point, I don't think I knew that he has Nimbus Cloak, but I knew that this boy was going to pop his Ignite, he was going to run me down under tower. So, I actually did decide to go Sheen. Probably the smarter buy would have been Ninja Toppies, but that's okay. I knew that this guy was going to look for his opportunity to basically run me down, so I had to be able to run away from him. I had to at least try to be able to run away. So I'm queuing him off cooldown, proccing my Sheen, just making sure that he's low, making him waste his rage for healing a lot of the time, which isn't a bad thing, but... So, nothing really important happens around here. This was a very uneventful game for me, especially with not a whole lot of opportunities to move other lanes. And this was kind of a game for a while. I just sat top lane. I didn't really TP. I think I only TP'd twice this game. That's not what you want to do as game playing. You want to at least attempt to help your lane. So at this point, I knew his flash was up, and I was like, okay, this could be bad. This could end up being bad if he just engages on me. So eventually he'll come back up here. I remember that. I think it's right about now. He starts heading up here or something. Yeah, there he goes. So I was kind of aware. You know, I'm 2 levels up on him, so I'm a little confident. But I also know that he's Tryndamere, so he will just run me down if he gets the opportunity. So he sees the opportunity here in just a second, if I remember right. Once this next wave ends. I believe he just sees his opportunity and goes on me. So as you can see, I'm autoing my barrels off cooldown. I'm trying to keep my grasp up so I can abuse him. So right here, he's gonna pop a lot to just try and stay on top of me. I'm gonna ult to try to get him away from me. As soon as he spins on me, I'm going to flash away. He's gonna follow me. And this was where it got a little dicey. I made sure I autoed him. He didn't crit me. And then I do die to him, but I do get the I don't know, that was just kind of a botched tower dive from him overall. Because the flash was fine. I think I should have flashed sooner, just because I took damage from his E, but he flashed and followed me. Now, he got pretty unlucky here. If he crit me, obviously this would have been very poor, right here. But what I want to point out is that right here, I Q him, make him use his ult. I auto him for the movement speed that I've said that is very, very important on him. I auto him for the movement speed. I shouldn't have run back like that. I should have just kept walking this way, I want to say, but I think I wanted to just make sure that he died. But either way, it worked out. So, not really all that important. A lot of the map is going even, I'm aware of this. Lucian's getting a little ahead, which is a little annoying, but... yeah, so far this game is going well, to my or if I remember right. Not really a whole lot to talk about in this game. Tryndamere kind of disappears for a bit. Just farming away, just queuing off cooldown. That's a lot of what Gangplank is just bullying your laners until you can either get up grasp to help you to late game, or you just get up fleet to help you to late game. Gangplank's a pretty one-dimensional champion when it comes to his lane phase. He's literally just there to farm and hit you with his Q. He's not really there to roam. He's not really there to do a whole lot else. So if you were to use your TP top lane over and over and over again, it's not really a bad thing. Of course, it'd be nice to help your team, but it's not really a mandatory thing for someone like Gangplank that is just a scaling champion. Just being aware of what fights are good, what fights are bad, you know, things like that are important for your team. But that's more so a top lane thing rather than anything else. So now my Qs are starting to hurt. So if I remember right, Olaf starts coming up here soon. And I get a 1v2 kill under tower. I think I get 2 1v2. Or I get 2 kills under tower. And 1v2. But yeah, just queuing. Staying alert. So Olaf's top side. He's gonna head up here soon. I'm going to slow down. I don't remember if anything is significant about this, but I see him on the ward. So what I do is I auto the barrel, I slow the Tryndamere, and I start to run away. And I W this because that's a bigger slow. If I could have dodged the Olaf axe, this would have been fine, and I would have gotten out just fine. But I auto the barrel because I'm over level 7, so I auto the barrel to get the movement speed as soon as possible and slow the Olaf. The Tryndamere ignites me, he's running. I make sure to auto the Olaf so I get even more movement speed after slowing him. Tryndamere wants to commit, which I'm not very surprised by, so I ult under the tower. I'm basically just running away from these two at once. And with my last dying breath, I know I'm going to die here, so I just want to slow the Olaf so I get a double. That's the plan. So yeah, that was pretty well played by me, I want to say. The Olaf should have committed harder, but other than that, it's okay. It's not really a big deal. Yeah, but more so, like I said, this game is more about how I played against somebody who's very just volatile. Now at this point, I had a Triforce, so I just started beating the shit out of this Tryndamere. I'll go back and I'll watch that a little bit over again just to see how I played it. So he's a little bit, I just want to auto my barrels, and like I say, a lot of the time, I just auto my picks for the combo. The Q isn't really important because the Q is a click on, so it's really good for extra damage when you don't need it, or when you do need it. So I just start beating his ass, basically, as soon as I get the Triforce. That's pretty much how the rest of this lane phase goes. I chase him down a couple times, so I might spectate for that. But mostly what I'm watching for is slow that down. I don't remember what happened in this fight. So Olaf actually came around a really good path. Avoided a lot of stuff. I actually didn't even see him on my pink that I have back here either. This was pretty well played for me, if I think it was, at least. Just queuing him off cooldown. Tryndamere commits. He's gonna ult. Right now, I'm gonna see Olaf, so I'm gonna start running down so I can get away from the Olaf. I know I can kill this guy with my ult and my Q damage, because I know he has no flash. Then I'm going to flash over the wall, W, hit the plane, and I'm gone. So, in my opinion, that was pretty well played by me. So I'll go back and kind of go over what I did again. So over here, I'm just queuing the Tryndamere. I don't really think it's important. He's kind of being a little ballsy, so I walk up to auto him. Maybe make him pop his ult. He spins on me, so I think something's up. Right now, I see Olaf, so I'm cutting down, just trying to make sure that I can just kill this guy. Q ult at the same time. No, I can kill him with the damage. Flash over the wall, even though I'm taking a tower shot. Now, I'm not sure if I would have died. I don't think I would have died to the tower shot, even if I didn't have my W up. But overall, just got out of that really cleanly, just getting away from the jungler when it mattered. So, again, not a whole lot happening. Start chasing this. This was kind of a bad chase down, honestly, because as you can see, Lucian's about to come up here and kill me. I do kill the Tryndamere here, but at this point, well, not that much, but he's kind of not worth my ult at this point. So, this was good right here. This was a good combo. And then I kept running down to try and go back into the wave. Obviously, what I should have done when we didn't see their mid laner was just go back up this way, and I would have been fine. But it was a little greedy, went for the wave, died here. Not the end of the world. It's okay. Now at this point I kind of realized, so that was also a fight. I'll go back and watch that one. At this point I kind of realized that that I should stop ulting for the Tryndamere, because it's not like he's worth no money at this point, but he's not worth a whole lot. So just the one thing I really want to stress is that now you might be wondering why I actually put down a barrel right there at the end of that. Was because, so right now I'm chasing, I ult him, I'm gonna force him to ult, I know I can. So I put down a barrel right here. You might be thinking why? Well, I'm level 13, so I just realized that my barrels take down at the fastest rate. So if he keeps walking this way, I can just shoot the barrel, because my Q's gonna come up soon. Or I can just force him to auto it or something else, or if he doesn't want to auto it and he just wants to keep walking, I can chain it because a barrel is coming up. So what I do here is I make sure to auto the barrel, because I know he's going to try to jump the wall. I auto him for the DOT on him, just in case I can't Q him for some reason. I use my blue trinket to see him, and then I Q him. So at this point, I was like, okay, I'm pretty big. I should stop ulting for the Tryndamere because it's not really going to do me any good. Take this away because it's just getting away. I decided to go crit this game because a lot of their team could build like armor items. So someone like Brand was probably going to build an armor item. He probably wasn't. He already had an armor item. So something like lethality isn't great. Something like lethality on Gangplank in general isn't very great and hasn't been for a while. In certain situations where you get like ahead, it can be really good against certain team comps, but it's okay. Normally crit is the way to go. So normally Trinity Force into Essence Reaver into Infinity Edge will give you 40%. With Transcendence, you'll get 50, so you can overcap for some AD, but that's okay. That's the only reason why Transcendence, I think, is not that great when you want to go Triforce Essence Reaver, because that just gives you 40 right there, so you don't really need it. But as you can see, I'm doing quite a decent amount of damage at this point with 2 items, and that wasn't even a crit. So I'm starting to hurt. Probably at this point in the game, I should have started grouping with my team, but I wanted to sit in the side lane so I could farm some more for more items. But I spent my first ult upgrade and I had 2 items. That is and I'm level 13. That is a big power spike for Gangplank. Normally he's a 3-item kind of champion when he goes even, but obviously this game I wasn't even, I was ahead. And so I really should have started grouping at this point and just started running over team fights under their towers and things like that, especially since we had a Fed Kha'Zix, we had a Thresh, we had an Ashe, we had a lot of setup on our team. So that's what I should have been doing, but I just wasn't. Right here, I was watching for... I was actually watching to see if the fight down here would end poorly, which it did, but there was no opportunity for me to TP, so I kind of just let it go. So just farming, not a whole lot to say here. As you can see, I'm still building for the Infinity Edge. A couple things to note, especially if you're playing mid lane. Raptors are actually really good for gameplay. They're very easy. Like, a lot of mid laners or laners in general will take the Raptors at a certain point. Gangplank is extremely good for taking the Raptors, especially if he crits them. So if I crit those, obviously all the small Raptors would have died. But what I do instead is I since I don't crit them, I just do this, and I get 42 extra gold from the Raptors. Now, you could argue, you know, obviously it could be useful in my jungler, but if your jungler is just camping bot lane, like say you're on this side of the map, and I don't know, because I play mid lane, so I'm gonna reference my own mid lane. Say I'm mid lane, jungler is just basically sitting around this area, their jungler and our jungler. There's no point in not taking the Raptors. Normally, what I say, you can even take them right after Sheen. Right after you get a Sheen, if you do the Raptors correctly, where you just start off with a Q and you're past level 7, or you're level 7 or above, I should say, you can, with a Sheen, you can kill the Raptors with 2 Sheen procs, so it's not really a big deal. They won't hurt you that much, and it's a good way if the lane is frozen or something like that to get some XP. That's really important sometimes. I would argue, some people would probably disagree. I would argue at a certain point in the game, probably like level 9 or 10, for mid lane. Top lane, it's kind of whatever. Normally, top lane takes the Krugs, but Gangplank's not great at taking Krugs. Normally at around level 9 or 10, the mid lane probably gets like probably gets every other scuttle or every other raptor camp spawn, or they get every third. So that's what I would say. It's not really important, but just know that raptors are a great camp for Gangplank because they give them quite a lot of money. Just as a camp joke. Basically, if somebody walks in the pit, we turn on them. Not really an important thing. Now, if I remember right, this guy almost killed me. Heal. Playing Illusion has no CC. He does a lot of damage. And then, once he flashes in, like I said, Gangplank is he's an AD-oriented champion. He doesn't rely on his barrels to do damage. They do a lot, but he shouldn't rely on them. So I make sure to flash in, get off the auto, which is basically going to kill him, and then Kha'Zix does too. But even if Kha'Zix didn't go on that, I could have just auto-queued him and he would have died. Gangplank is a melee champion that builds a lot of AD, so he doesn't necessarily always need to be in melee range. Don't get me wrong, that's not what I'm trying to say. But don't be afraid to get in melee range. He does a lot of damage with his passive effects, especially if you know how to auto-cancel really well. So ulting over here, this is a good team fight if I remember right. Olaf flashed in for something, yeah. Don't really know about that one. At this point, I bought a GA. I think I was gonna go for an Infinity Edge. GA is also a fine third item. If it's something like this where the Lucian I know is being really aggressive all game, he has really aggressive items, like a Sanguine Blade, and they have a bunch of divers and things like that, like these two. It's not bad to build all that armor, especially against such an AD heavy team. GA is just such a good item on Gangplank, and I think it's very underutilized. And at this point, I think I was saying to myself, well, if I hit this Kai'Sa, she's going to lose most of her health. So then there was half of Lucian's health, and Kha'Zix came in and killed him, I'm pretty sure, just in an instant. Because he dashed in, because this Lucian, like I said, is very aggressive. Kha'Zix also knew that, he came in and killed him. I think that was practically the main call for this game. And with a GA, as are all champions, but with a GA, Gangplank can play very aggressive. He can just walk up and be like, well, if you're going to pop my GA, I don't really care, to be honest. I really couldn't care if you're going to pop my GA or not, because what's it going to really matter? I don't care. If I can take at least 2 people down with me, what does it matter if I lose my GA? You know? Now, if I remember right, no, not right now. I do recall here. There was a, this is the first time I TP'd this game, funny. this was kind of bad. That was not the best. Just make sure I just autoing the kegs I think is a lot better in my own opinion. And because of all that armor, Kaisa doesn't really do all that much damage to me, given she's a little behind. She only has 3 items. Then again, I only have 3.5, so I just have more levels on her, because if you notice, I'm already level 18. Not comparing to my laner, because he was having a lot of internet issues. Say their mid laner, I'm 2 levels above their mid laner, just because I sat in a side lane for so long. Just want to make sure to auto for all the movement speed that you get. I wasn't really in range of like dying there, but it's just really important to realize how much movements. I can't stress enough that I don't think enough people know that Gangplank's passive just gives so much movement speed. It really is a really good passive. So I think I made a mistake here in just a second. I think I hard committed into their base for something that I didn't even get. So this was bad. Not this. This right here is what was bad. I told myself, you know, I could probably just kill this Lucian. But he flashed. He flashed at the same time. Now, if the Lucian didn't flash right there, I most likely could have just killed him with an auto, because the DOT and everything. Look at how much work the GA was doing there. I took a lot of that Lucian's ult, and I only took that much damage. And that's a level 3 ult. So I crit him here. Now, if he didn't flash, honestly, if the Lux didn't ult, I could have just autoed him, and then the passive would have ticked him down. Here, I just overcommitted. I don't really have an excuse. And then I just die. And then the team cleans up at least, but it's not really important. Ugh. So not really important stuff happening. Just running through, lagging apparently. Right there, you may not see what just happened, but they were doing the Baron. It's like ult. I don't know why he didn't ult, which is good. Gangplank's ult does a lot of damage late game, it's whatever. Pretty sure we 2-man the Baron at this point. Don't get contested, because they can't contest us, honestly. Kill their jungler again, so we can, I'll actually go back to that and show. Patience is very key on this champion. So, I was sitting in this bush, basically waiting for someone to face check me. But then I go over here because I saw the Olaf on this ward up here. The minions, excuse me. I saw the Olaf on the minions when he entered this bush. So I saw him right here. I could have just used my E and just not popped him, but did a little bit of damage. But I wanted to make sure that he was committed. So as soon as he walked into this rush, I was like, okay, well, he dies. Kha'Zix is here. There's no way that we can get contested on this, because that's what he was coming to do. Got back, I TP. Pretty sure I just run down the brand for fun here. It's true. Not really a whole lot to say. And then I'm pretty sure the game is just over. So, this was a good showcase on how to play a lane that is just volatile, because top lane in general is just a volatile lane. And it was just, I don't really know what else to say other than that. I will say that Tryndamere was basically non-existent for a lot of the game, because he had internet issues past a certain point. But before that, I think it was a good showing of how something like this can work, where you're into a lane that can swing either way, especially against something like a Tryndamere, who, if he kills you once early game, it's just over. That's just how to survive the lane. So I don't think I'm gonna make another top lane video for you, just because I don't like top lane. If I get filled top lane against a really bad matchup, I'll just show how to survive it. Like if I get filled top lane against the Jace, I'll probably commentate on it like this and just tell you how I was relevant. But if you have any questions about this, just ask me. Yeah, that's really all I have for this one. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, just hit me up.